Hi, I'm Chef Jim Murray and I'm with the National Pork Board. Today is National Grilling Day and we're going to be doing a bunch of different sausages as well as an incredible display of different pork-based burgers. When topping a burger or even using it on a dog, here's an incredible Roadhouse Bloody Mary sauce. What we're going to start with is a little bit of pork stock, and we're putting it into a pan over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten that up with some cornstarch and that's been dissolved in water. And it really doesn't give us any flavor, but what it does is it thickens it to the consistency of a traditional ketchup. And then we will add our additional ingredients to that particular item. And it makes a catchy little noise. So now that our pork stock is thickened, what we're going to be adding is your favorite Bloody Mary mix. Basically equal parts stock, in this case thickened stock, and Bloody Mary mix, some Worcestershire, a little bit of hot sauce, and we're going to finish it up with some fresh horseradish. Now this particular sauce can be used once it cools completely down. It will thicken up even more. So it's perfect to glaze a bun or brush over the top of a sausage and or a pork burger. Bacon, lettuce, and tomato. Nothing says summer like that particular sandwich. What I've done is I've created a spread. It can also be used as a dip for parties, that sort of a thing. And it's a combination of those elements, bacon, lettuce, and tomato, combined with cream cheese and a little bit of salad dressing. The star of the dish is bacon, crumbly, crisp bacon. You can even include all of the, in this particular spread, you can take and add all of the fat along with it. Now I have salad dressing that I'm adding. And all the recipes are available on the website below. Next is equal parts of cream cheese to the salad dressing. Just simply going to incorporate those together before we go any further. Now this would be pretty tasty on a pork burger or any sort of a pork sausage, but we're not just going to stop there. We're going to be adding some tomatoes. And these are the first of the season garden tomatoes because I'm here in Wisconsin. And this is a little bit colder up here, so we're just starting to come on with some cherry tomatoes. Another month or two, we'll be having full-size beefsteak style of tomatoes, Romas, that sort of a thing. But right now, we are in the land of cherry tomatoes. So I'm just coarsely cutting these up with a serrated knife. Another little trick that you see cooks and chefs use is that if you put a plastic lid off of a pan on top of these, you can go straight through the side and cut them straight in half. But I want them a little bit finer than that for this sauce, so I'm just kind of cutting and rolling. I use a serrated knife on tomatoes because tomatoes have a relatively tough skin, and not only does that dull your knife, but it also can cause it to roll. And so this way, serrated will help to kind of saw through the vegetable. So there are tomatoes. Take a pastry knife add those, not the juice in. And the last thing that we're gonna add is what I like to refer to as shredded. Shreddus, they call it. Shredded lettuce, which is just iceberg lettuce that has been cut very fine. Now all of these ingredients go together and they will give you a very rustic style spread to use. Once again, burgers, in this case pork burgers, or like we refer to them as ham/burgers, and also an array of sausages. Let's talk sausage. What we have here is two different forms of sausage. We've got a sausage link and we've got a sausage patty. Both the same product. Actually, what I did to make the patty is I simply sliced open the link and reformed it into the shape that I wanted. If I wanted to make a meatball shape, I can do that with this particular product. Now, for about 5 years, I was the self-proclaimed sausage evangelist for the largest sausage company in the world. So not only am I a little passionate about sausage, I'm just excited about it. And the reason is it possesses almost every trait that you look for in meat. First of all, it's a perfect blend of fat to lean. It's a calculated blend. In most cases, the sausages are going to be around, in this particular case, I would say 70% lean, meaning meaty cuts, and about 30% fat. The lean gives you the unctuous qualities you're looking for. The fat gives you that savory quality and that mouthfeel and the tenderness in the bite of the sausage that you're looking for. Casings come in a variety of different forms. This is a natural casing here, and what that does is it will give you a textural contrast. But that's not to say that if you're not a particular fan of encased meats, maybe you need to go over to a patty, and like I said, you simply can switch. The other unique feature about sausage is the fact that it's fully seasoned completely through. So the way that it's made is it's ground, then it's salted, a perfect blend of salt, which actually does a couple of things. One, it pulls out the protein and kind of binds it together and gives you that particular feel that you're looking for. It also traps some moisture by doing that. Secondly, it seasons completely through that particular sausage there. And then it's seasoned. And the seasoning goes completely through the entire sausage from end to end. So it's not like you're seasoning a piece of meat and hoping that it gets down inside of it so it has a good eating experience. So, and the last thing about it would be the tenderness factor. You're always looking for that perfect bite in a piece of meat. Well, sausages tend to have that already built in because they're a ground product. So those are just some simple overview of sausages as we know it. Next, we're going to talk about cooking mediums. How do you cook sausages? Research says that optimally a sausage is somewhere in the range around, I would say 165 to 170 degrees completely cooked. And an Insta-read thermometer is your best friend in this case. Simply insert an Insta-read thermometer in through the sausage to the thickest part while you're cooking and check that temperature and make sure that it gets up to that, but doesn't exceed it. Most of the time, what people do with cooking sausages in particular is fire up your charcoal grill to 800 or 900 degrees, throw it on raw, and wait for the flames, basically. And what ends up happening is what you're doing is you're charring the surface of it and basically burning that casing. And even if you only burn it in one little spot, that's a weak spot. Then for about the next probably 10 to 15 minutes, you're only cooking in about that far, a quarter of an inch or so into the sausage. Very hot. It's driving all that moisture to the center until it hits 212 degrees, which is boiling. And then it looks for the easiest path of of resistance to get out of that sausage. And it's usually somewhere in that casing where it will split open, a combination of a minimal, probably at that particular point, a minimal amount of moisture, but mostly fat will be released. And that's when you have the flare-ups and the grill bonfires. So trying to control that temperature is crucial to ending up with a good product. My thoughts are simmer a sausage until it's completely done, or in the case of this particular device over here, this is kind of like Brat Bath 2.0 version. This is the newest, latest thing. It's not really super new in terms of history of the world sort of stuff, but in terms of the average consumer having one of these, what they call immersion circulators, probably last 5 years. The neat thing about this particular device is that this will cook any one of these products within 0.1 degree of doneness. So it takes the brain work out of it. Is that pot simmering? I don't really know. Are those small bubbles, medium bubbles, or large bubbles? Not so sure. This, I want it to cook to 160 degrees. I'm going to set it at 160 degrees. Once this reaches 160 degrees, which is probably in the case of a raw sausage, let's say an hour and a half, it will be completely cooked. Then it's not going to go above or below that 160 degrees until I change the temperatures. These are also most always connected to mobile devices, so you can not only have alarms that tell you when it gets to 160 degrees, but you can have it go for X period of time. If you were cooking it for, I want it to go for 4 hours, you can set a timer and your phone calls you and lets you know, or your phone gives you an alarm. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you a couple of different ways of doing it. These are vacuum sealed bags. And the nice thing about the vacuum seal is it concentrates and intensifies the flavor. So in this case, what we've got is we've got some traditional brats, and what I've added is mustard seeds and beer. And so what's going to happen during the heating cooking process to get to 160 degrees, those mustard seeds are going to swell and they're going to pop and they're going to mix with the fat and the flavors from the brats. And when that's all done, I'm going to pull these out and either griddle them in a pan or do them on the grill. But now I've got the foundation for an incredibly wonderful homemade mayonnaise that took me as long as it took. So basically all you do is just submerge these into this vessel. Now they have little fancy little gadgets that you can rest them in, but if you just hang them over the side, that's perfectly fine. Here's a poor man everyday cook's model, just a plastic bag, and I've got peppers, onions, a little bit of beer in this, and garlic with Italian sausages, and I'm simply going to hang that over. The neat thing about using a bag that has resealable is that if you put it down into the water, it will force all the air out, and then you can close it up and hang it over the edge, and it will completely submerge itself. We don't necessarily just need to stay with the link. We've got patties here, we've got patties here. These were cheddar bacon patties, and what I wanted to go along with them was, I want some caramelized onions with some additional bacon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw these into the drink here, so to speak, and this bacon's going to render out. It's going to leave me the foundation of some really fantastic bacon fat and smoky flavor that's going to be infused into those onions. I pull these out, finish them on the grill very quickly, either on a grating system or possibly in a basket or even smash burger style. And then I'm going to take these, put them in a pan and saute them up and have wonderful caramelized onions with bacon. So that one goes in. And there's no mixing of flavors inside of these. Since these pouches are all sealed, this one doesn't taste like Italian sausage, that one doesn't taste like a brat, this one doesn't taste like bacon, that sort of a thing. The last thing that I wanted to show is a smoked sausage. This is an andouille. So Same basic formula, exact same formula as a fresh sausage. The only difference is they've hung this in a smokehouse and smoked it. So this is completely cooked. But from a safety standpoint, we still want to get it up in that range around 170 degrees to be safe. Plus, it's easy for cooking. The other thing that's nice, so now we just kind of set it and forget it, so to speak. This is going to do all the work. It went down to a 156 here, but it will be back up probably in 3 to 4 minutes. You can also reverse this process. You can reverse this process by cooking them first, then putting everything inside these bags, sealing it up, and putting it in at 160 degrees and holding it there indefinitely. And you're not going to get any overcooking. You're not going to get any flavor mixtures or anything like that. So when your guests come, all you have to do is open it up, put it out on a platter, and they think you're a rock star. One of the things that challenges many people when cooking sausages in particular is, what temperature do I cook them to? Do I just simply put them on the grill at 5 million degrees, let them burn up and start on fire? Or is there some sort of a science behind it? And what I do is I simmer them. I want that internal temperature to be somewhere right around 160 degrees. And I can do that in a flavorful liquid. So I have 2 different baths that I'm going to build. The first one is pork stock, and that's going to be for my Italian sausages. So what I'm going to do is do peppers and onions with this. So what I'm doing here is simply taking the stem out as well as the spine, because neither one of those are very tasty. And this doesn't have to be super duper fancy. Just simply cut in any way that you like. I like them in kind of long strips. And this can be used 2 different ways. Number one, you're going to simmer your sausage to completely cook it in there before finishing it on the grill. So you've already got a perfectly cooked sausage that only needs to be browned on the grill. And we'll show you a couple of different ways that can make that a little bit easier for you as well. The other thing is, once they are grilled, you can pull these ingredients out and use this as a holding mechanism for your sausages. So now I'm going in with some onion. Last, we'll add a little green pepper for contrast and color. Same way, you just cut down the side and roll your knife, and it will take out the spine. And you'll notice on the side here that I've used disposable pans. I can take these pans, put them right on my grill, as you will see, and when it's all said and done, you can simply discard them or recycle them. So now I have my broth, I have my peppers and onions, and I'm simply going to add my sausages and put these on the grill to simmer. Turn them several times. I'll also show you how to temp these, because I want to bring these up to only about 160 degrees. And from 160 degrees, then I can finish them off on the grill. They're going to be well within the safe zone for eating sausages, and they will also be juicy and flavorful. Next, I'm going to switch over and do a bath, which we often refer to here in Wisconsin, the great state of Wisco, as the brat tub. Some people have hot tubs, we have brat tubs. And so in this particular case, I've got sauerkraut, I've got Wisconsin beer, and I'm going to I'm slicing up some onion to put in there, and I'll have two different kinds of brats going in there. I've got a cheddar brat as well as a fresh Wisconsin-made brat. The other nice thing about it is when the fats and juices come out of these particular sausages, they really do break down in flavor. The sauerkraut and the onions as well as the bell peppers. They give it their own additional flavor. Let's move into burgers for a few minutes. We're going to do several different variations on pork burgers. The first one that I want to do is what's called a blended burger. And so what I'm doing is, you notice I have about a half a pound burger here. And I'm using cremini mushrooms that have been finely chopped. And you want to use probably about 1/4 of what you are going to have into the burger. Now, and I'm loosely pulling this together. That's the way that I work with burgers is very loose in terms of texture. I don't like to season ground pork like this on the inside. I like to season aggressively on the outside, simply because if you start to extract the protein out of it, what you're going to end up with is sausage, and that's not what you're looking for. So once again, a little bit of cremini mushroom, some more burger. We'll make a second one of these, what I refer to as the new Chop House burger. And then we'll go through a couple of other variations that we're going to play around with on the grill when we get outside. The first one are sliders, done smash style. So smaller burgers that we're going to smash on cast iron to get them really nice and crisp on both sides, but still be incredibly juicy. Here are a couple of burgers that you could buy from your local butcher. This one happens to be a cheddar burger, and this one here's a steakhouse, kind of a riff on steakhouse seasonings inside of a ground pork patty. All ready to go, just simply put it on the grill. We'll see you outside. The next question that most people have after how long do I cook them, to what temperature do I cook items, is what fuel source should I use? I'm showing you a simple charcoal chimney, they call them. It starts by either a fire starter on the bottom or some crumpled up newspaper, charcoal, and or a combination of charcoal and wood. Literally in 15 minutes, if you've got a full flame going. This is probably 10 to 15 right now. The nice thing about using these versus starter fluids or anything like that, or coals that already have starter fluid in it, is you never really get rid of that petroleum kind of a taste in your food. So all I'm going to do is just evenly distribute the coals, put my grates on, and I can begin to cook. Welcome to the grill. We're going to be doing a couple of different kinds of burgers. We'll start with our blended burger. I've seasoned one side pretty aggressively. What you'll see here is a grill grate. There's a lot of different grating systems out there. The nice thing about these is no matter how much fat were to come off anything and try to ignite, it does not burn the product. So they're excellent for sausages. They work great for burgers. Once again, I'm seasoned pretty aggressively on the outside. Salt, pepper, little paprika, garlic powder. And then next I'll be doing the meat market burgers. Close the lid and let them go to work. Now you'll see what I've used instead of grates. I've also use baskets, and I love baskets for doing sausages. You can get about 12 sausages, quarter-pound sausages, into one basket at a time. And once you poach them, really all you need to do is flip them. What you're trying to do is just control the heat. So if it starts to flare up, you can take all of them off at one time, as opposed to trying to remove one at a time and running into issues. Once again, we've got our poaching bass up on top, cooking bass and holding bass. Now we're just going to close the lid and let them work. Now comes a little bit of fun in terms of smash style diner burgers. So you simply start with 1/4 ounce balls, 1/4 pound, not ounce. And we're just going to sear that a little bit on one side. Hit it with some seasoning. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to develop a really nice crust before we turn these. And all these edges that are a little bit feathery, you will see them, they'll crisp up really nice and give you a totally different texture. You'll notice how beautifully browned the Italian sausages are on both sides. It's easy as that. They're completely cooked. They'll go back into their bath, and we will wait for brats. Little flare-ups from the brats, from some fat. You simply pull it all off at the same time. Now to gild the lily with a little melted cheese, and we will have a set of smash sliders ready to rock and roll. Let's do a little recap of today's grilling adventure, let's say. So we started out with a couple of different sauces. We've got BLT spread that will work both on the sausages as well as the burgers. We have a Roadhouse Bloody Mary sauce that goes excellent with it. And then we composed ourselves a number of different things. We talked about baths, or what we would call a brat tub here. So we have two different styles of brats with onions and sauerkraut steamed in beer and lightly simmered. So like around 160 to 170 degrees. If you need to know where that's at, it's just little bubbles in it. Over here, we've got pork broth with peppers and onions and Italian sausage. We've got an array of burgers here, including our blended burger. And then we also have a couple of builds here done with burgers, our blended burger, as well as a triple header smash burger here. We've got buns, and now all that's left is to eat. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks.